Hi, it's Vincent here, and welcome to today's webinar on 5 innovative ways to ignite your real estate career in today's online real estate marketplace. As we kick off, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about who I am, where I've come from, and what's got me to here today. You see, this guy here on the screen, this is what I was like back in my real estate career. I've been in real estate for over 20 years now. I've run 7 different offices, I've been under 3 different franchise groups, and I've sold residential, commercial, industrial, project marketing, we've done rentals, we've done pretty much every facet of real estate. And I was in a position where I was the guy in the office who they never let anywhere near the computer. In fact, if I went to the photocopier, it would break. The fax machine would literally growl at me as I walked past. It was, I'm probably the most technophobic real estate agent, or was the most technophobic real estate agent in the country at that time. And yet now what I've done is I've actually gone on and I realized I needed to embrace this space and understand it. So what I did was I spent a lot of time learning this whole online digital world social media space, and now I'm in a position where I'm actually an advisor to the real estate industry and seen as the go-to guy in this social media space and this whole digital world. So that's just a little bit of a quick background around where I've come from and what's got me to here today. So today what we want to talk about is the 5 innovative ways to ignite your real estate career in today's online real estate marketplace. And the first one I want to talk to you about is your password to success. See, what happens is that we're told that we need to have goals, and it's really important that you have goals in your life that you're going to set to achieve. You want to have something to achieve, because without setting goals, you're in a position where it's like a ship without a rudder, and you tend to drift along and the days disappear and your life disappears and you don't tend to achieve anything like what you could achieve out there in your real estate career. So what I've done is I've put together an innovative way that you can use goal setting and have it that it ties in with your use of computers, and it helps you to stay on track with your goals. So firstly, what I want to talk to you about is this super fast goal setting technique that I've developed. See, the way this works is that the first step is I just want you to imagine that a radio station has just called you on the phone and they've said you've just won $10,000 to spend on a 10-day holiday. And to win the prize, all you have to do is answer the following 2 questions within the next 60 seconds. So if you get your paper and pen handy, in this next 60 seconds, I want you to answer these 2 questions. Are you ready for the questions? Here they are. Question 1 is, where would you go? And question 2 is, why? Very simple. Where would you go to spend 10 days on a holiday with $10,000 to spend? Where would you go, and why would you go there? Out of all the places in the world, why would you go there? And it's funny because I asked this question to one of my agents, and she said to me that the answer to number 1 was that she'd go to Fiji, and the answer to number 2 was firstly to relax, but also she had this thought that she wanted to catch up with a friend who actually lives over in Fiji. So she had a secondary reason that was driving her to want to achieve this goal. So just if you can have a think through that, answer that, where would you go and why? And if you haven't answered it by now, then basically the 60 seconds is over and you may not be in a position where you can do this. Just kidding. But that's a simple way to identify something you can achieve in your life and what you could do with, say, $10,000 and give you a goal to aim towards. The second step to this, because one of the things with a goal is that whilst it's okay to say let's go to Fiji and let's catch up with our friends, a goal without a deadline is just a dream. What we need to do is decide when you're going to take the holiday. So when you think about the destination that you're going to want to go to, what you need to look at is ask these few questions. When's the best time of the year to travel to that country? So if you're in a position where you want to go snow skiing, well then it's no use going to that particular country or to that particular place in the middle of summer. So if you want to go to Whistler over in Canada, it's great around February, or if you want to have a white Christmas, it's a good opportunity to do it then. Sometimes the snow's not as good as what it is in, say, January, February, so it really just depends upon what you're wanting to do. But also over in Fiji, Vanuatu, those sort of places, it tends to be sort of from May onwards. That's some of the better times to go to those sort of tropical places. So the other thing you do is, does it coincide with a personal event? If it's for your birthday or your spouse's birthday or your partner's birthday or for your wedding anniversary, it's great to coincide it so it can be a celebration and something to work towards, something that you can both be thinking about, oh, this is something we'd like to achieve, and you can then stay focused and work towards something. Well, the other thing you do is you could have as the financial year goal. So that way, what happens, the financial year gives you this income goal that you know is going to appear on your group certificate, or if you're the owner of the business, then it's on your profit and loss statement. Well, then what happens is that you can then work towards that particular deadline to achieve that sort of income that allows you to go on that holiday. So it depends upon what sort of goal you want to achieve. This is just a way that you can go about setting it up. So just to give you an idea, this is what the agent said. She said, go to Fiji in May 2013. So it could be 05-2013. So what we do is, to set your new goal password, is that we actually add answer number 1 and answer number 2. So we've got Fiji 05-2013, and that becomes her new password to success. So as you can see, you add answer 1, answer 2 together, and that is your new password to success. So example, Fiji 05-2013. And when you think about how many times we actually use a password to access, say, the computer, or go and hire a video, or go on to our online banking and all those sort of things, so many people are in a position where their password is just something that's easy for them to remember. Whereas by setting your goal as your password, you get an opportunity to get a daily reminder of your goal, and it helps you to stay on track. So you get this subliminal message going on all the time about going to Fiji in May 2013, or whatever it is that you want to achieve. So that's the first tip. I've used this myself, and it's helped us to achieve so many things just by using this one strategy. So the second one is that once you've set your goal, what you want to do is you need to look at working out your numbers. Because it's one thing to set the goal. Now it's a case of, all right, let's just see if that goal is achievable, and let's see what you need to do to achieve that goal. So the first thing we need to look at is establishing how we break up the goal and the tangible things and the actions that you need to do and the results that you need to achieve. So the first thing we look at is how to break up your listings and your sales. So if you have a listing and your listing gets sold by a team member in your office, then that is your listing sold, which equals one side. If you sell someone else's listing, once again, that becomes a side. But if you actually list the property and then you sell the property, it becomes what we call a double header, and that is two sides of the transaction. So what we need to look at working out is, how much do you get paid per side on average? And then work out how many sides do you need per month to achieve your income goal that's going to allow you to go and do that trip or achieve that particular goal on that particular month of that particular year. So what happens is you can go to where you want to be, say Fiji, May 2013, and then calculate back the weeks and months and say, all right, I need to be in a position where I need to sell at least one property a week and have one of my listings sell per week. And that gives you something to work towards on an ongoing basis, so you can keep yourself on track and know whether or not you're going to be in a position where you can actually achieve that goal or not. The other thing that you want to look at doing is do an online stock take of your area. See, one of the great things about the online innovation now with sites like realestate.com.au and realestate.co.nz is that you can go in and you can do the research. Like years ago, we were in a position where we had to drive around the area to find out the information and do sign counts and that sort of side of things. Now you can go on to realestate.com.au and you can do the research and find out how many properties are for sale in your area, how many properties are sold in the last 12 months, and are there enough sales being made in your area to achieve your goal. So if you're in a position where there's not enough business taking place, you may find that you have to increase the area that you're marketing out to be able to generate the income that you want. But you'll generally find that in most areas, there's enough business in pretty much any area to achieve the income that you want to achieve. It's really just about getting your goals in place and going out there and taking hold of the market share. So even though in some areas the pie may be shrinking and there's less sales taking place, what you want to do is you want to get a bigger share of the pie. That should be your goal, and by having a goal in place and working out your numbers, you can then identify exactly what results you need to achieve. Because what we need to look at doing is making sure that what goal you've set is in fact possible. Because once you feel and identify that it is possible by doing this online research, all of a sudden your whole perception around it just changes. And once you see that it is possible, then all of a sudden you can start to work towards it on a daily basis and get those daily reminders as you're typing in your password. The other thing you need to look at with these online sites like realestate.com.au and realestate.co.nz is that it's now become like agent lotto for consumers. And for agents, it's actually become like a never-ending battle for supremacy. So whilst these sites are good for generating leads, it's not the be-all and the end-all when it comes to trying to differentiate yourself away from your competitors in the marketplace. In fact, if this is all you rely on, then your brand is in fact shrinking, and you'll find that you'll be in a position where you will struggle to be called in to a number of market appraisals, because people are in a situation now where they have so much choice and it's so confusing for them that you really do struggle to stand out in this sort of environment. So just be very, very mindful of that. Number 3 is it's really important that you look at embracing innovation faster. See, I caught up with Matt Steinwade a couple of weeks back, and Matt and I were talking about, and I said to him, Matt, if you had your time over again, what's one thing that you would do differently? What's the main thing you would do differently? And he said, I'd make sure I looked after and nurtured my database more effectively. I said, yeah, Matt, most people I ask that question to, they all say a similar sort of thing about their database. But I said, for me, it's I wish I had actually embraced innovation faster. And when I said that to him, the penny dropped. He said, yeah, you're right. Because what happens is that there are so many different real estate marketing avenues now, with 3D floor plans, video marketing, individual property websites, so many different ways that you can market property. Plus we're now in a situation where we're seeing such a massive growth in the iPads and tablets, applications, all the different apps in the App Store. We're seeing augmented reality on the mobile phones, cloud computing, and this whole growth and expansion in the social media environment. And it's interesting to see how things are moving along. But one of the things that I've always said is you can either be one of 3 things. You can either be seen as the innovator in your marketplace, or you can be seen as the imitator and just follow the other agents, or you could sit back and do nothing and be seen as a spectator. Now, I've got to say, being the innovator in your marketplace is a brilliant positioning, because you can then go out to listing presentations and say, we were the first agent in our area to do this. We were the first agent in our area to do that. And no one can ever take that away from you. So it's definitely the place to play in, is being seen as that innovator in your marketplace. And it's interesting, I don't know if you know, but they're saying now with mobile technology and everything that only 0.2% of what we're going to be using our mobile devices for will actually be for making phone calls. Like, that's bizarre. They're a phone, but yet they are now getting to a point where there are so many uses to our phone that they become a camera, a word processor, a social media device. There's so many different applications available that we can now use these devices on. And they're saying that by 2015, 65% of what people will do on mobile devices will be watching video. So if you haven't moved into the video spaces yet, then I highly recommend that that is an area that you start to venture down, because it's just rapidly growing and it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And we've got some fantastic things that we're rolling out to the real estate industry in relation to embracing video and using it effectively via social media networks. So that's something you may want to tune in with. And I'll share a little bit at the end of this about what we're doing moving forward to give you an insight so you can maybe get involved if you want to. Because one of the things that I see is that will and discipline are now wildly overrated. You can be so determined, you can go out there and you can door knock, you can telephone prospect, you can do all of those activities, but the people who have become hugely successful today have actually overcome the technology blockage. You see, the online space is so powerful now and it can attract so much business to you once you know how to overcome these technology blockages. And that's where this number 4 is becoming an attraction agent. I can't stress how important this is. You see, what happens is that a lot of agents go out there and we go out and door knock and we telephone prospect, and now we're getting to a point where there's do not call registers, there's do not knock, there's no junk mail and that type of thing as well. So the idea is that you want to be in a position where you actually stand out in your marketplace and have it that people are actually attracted to you. And it's interesting, you've probably heard this through a number of real estate trainers. I know Tom Panos and Glenn Twiddle and Michael Sheargold and lots of the top trainers talk about the fact that you must become an attraction business. Now, that's fine, but why? Well, I got to say that there is no greater time than right now to be in a position where you start to understand how to become this attraction agent. Because what's happened now is, I don't know if you're aware, but did you know Australian residential property sellers research their marketplace for an average 19 days prior to contacting an agent to conduct an appraisal? And the majority of this research is being conducted via the internet. So if the sellers are doing on average 19 days research before they even contact an agent to get them to come out to do a market appraisal, then it is vitally important that you are in a situation where you have an effective digital footprint. Having a 9 out of 10 trustworthy digital footprint, so that when people find you on the web, they like what they find out about you. And also, what's important is that they actually can find you on the web really, really easily. You see, what happens is that your digital footprint silently impacts on your results, your reputation, and your rapport building. So the idea is that you want to be building rapport with people online before they've even met you. Because if you're in a situation where you don't even get called out to the listing, if you're in a situation where you're not on the shopping list, it doesn't matter how good your scripts and dialogues are or how good you are at negotiating. If you don't get invited into a person's home, then you don't get a chance to show how good you are as a real estate agent. So you've got to get a chance to present. And people are now Googling your name before they even invite you out. There's so much research being done, and basically these people are like employers, and employers are now doing searches on applicants. Well, it's the same sort of thing with a seller. They do searches of real estate agents, and then they basically choose, on average, they choose 2 agents to invite in. And you want to be one of those 2. And that's where it's important to play what I call the ACE card. We're going to look at using strategic online positioning to beat your competitors. And the ACE card is providing authority, giving you celebrity positioning, and appearing as the expert in your marketplace. And what I suggest you do is to make the rapid shift to becoming a household name in your area. And you can do this within 6 months, absolute maximum. Whereas I caught up with Matt Steinway and Aaron Shiner, And it's interesting, they're talking about how it took them something like 5 years worth of door knocking, calling, letterbox drops, all the information they had to share, market reports, all the things that they had to do to become a household name. It took them 5 years. And now with what I know about the online space and how powerful this is, because the internet works 168 hours a week, it just doesn't stop working for you, or it doesn't stop working against you. If you don't have a 9 out of 10 digital footprint, well then it's working against you. You are currently losing business, and you're currently losing a lot of it if you don't have a decent digital footprint or a lot of these other things in place. So that's one of the biggest costs to a real estate agent, is the amount of business they're actually losing to their competitors, and they're losing online by someone who actually goes onto the computer, clicks the cross button at the top and closes the page, or hits the back button. Because if they do that, it's just the same end result as if they've hung up the phone or walked out the door of your office. It's the same net result. So what we want to do is we want to engage people online and get them in a position where they actually see you as that celebrity, that authority, and having that expertise by harnessing the incredible power of social media. Like, I have never ever, in all of my years of real estate, as I said, over 20 years, I've never come across a greater marketing platform, marketing tool than social media. It is by far the most powerful platform I have ever experienced. But the most important thing around it is that you've got to use real strategy. It's one thing to go in there and set up a Facebook account and a Twitter account and say we're on social media. There's got to be a strategy behind it, otherwise you're just wasting your time. And that's where I believe that your real strategy has got to be focused around becoming seen as the indisputable trusted advisor in your marketplace. And once you become seen as the indisputable trusted advisor in your marketplace, you'll get called into a lot more of those listings, and you can pretty much write your own check. That's the positioning you can have out there in your market, and it can free you up to go off on holidays or employ PAs and have the real estate life that's inside your head. It's just amazing what you can do once you actually get to that sort of positioning and attract people to you, rather than being in a position where you have to go out there constantly trying to generate business and look under rocks for the next listing. This is designed so you can actually be seen as that position and just attract business to you automatically. Because it's interesting what the late Zig Ziglar said, is if people like you, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. And as real estate agents, we are distrusted, and that actually provides the greatest opportunity, because real estate agents are seen to be distrusted, and like used car salespeople and that sort of things, all you need to do is to become seen as a person that can be trusted by providing a 9 out of 10 trustworthy digital footprint. And as that works for you online, around the clock, it's like a 24/7 salesperson, like your for sale signs are. But what happens when you sell the house, the sign comes down, but the difference is with the internet, it actually sits out there forever working for you. So it's really, really powerful once you get to that sort of positioning. So you use social media real strategically to build indisputable trust both in you and your personal brand online. You also use social media real strategically to generate more listing leads automatically. And this is how finding listing leads really should be. Just sit back and let people call you and contact you, and like I said, have the real estate life that's inside your head. And use it real strategically to increase your market share. Like I said earlier, there is enough business out in your area, or there should be more than enough business out in your area. All you need to do is be in a position where you get your market share. And you may be thinking, okay, so that sounds great, Greg, but how do we do it? Well, unfortunately, I haven't got time to run through it all here today, But what I have put together is I've actually put together a series of workshops that allows me to help you on an individual basis to move forward. And if it's okay with you, I'd just like to share with you a little bit of an insight into how these work. You see, what they're called is it's Unreal Social Media for Agents, the workshop. And they're a half-day workshop where I share the 7 cutting-edge social media accelerators for real estate agents. And the first one out of those 7 is to have that 9 out of 10 trustworthy digital footprint. And also number 7 is becoming the indisputable trusted advisor in your marketplace. There are a number of others in there, and if you go to unrealsocialmedia.com.au, you'll see the 7 cutting edge social media accelerators for real estate agents outlined on that particular page. So it's unrealsocialmedia.com.au. Now with this workshop, the way we've designed this is we've made it as affordable as we possibly can, because I really want to help agents move forward in this space. Now, it's not a session where you just send your admin person and get them to come along and get them to look at doing it all. This is where we look at beginning with the end in mind, so that you have real strategy and a real plan to move you forward, because it's you and your personal brand that we're trying to position out there in the marketplace. Business is now personal. It's not just about the brand, it's now about you as an individual and trying to help you to achieve your goals. So what we've done is we've set it up so that there is a real value. Ticket pricing should be $6.95. The normal ticket price is $197, but for early birds, it's only $97. So if you get in early for these workshops, then you only have to pay $97 to get your ticket. So if you go to unrealsocialmedia.com.au, you can get the information there and then go in and book in your seat. But the other thing I just want to mention around this is that there are a maximum of 15 delegates per session, because I've actually spoken in front of hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents at events. I've shared the stage with John McGrath and Michael Sheargold and Glenn Twiddle and all these other real estate trainers. But one of the things I found was that it's difficult in those sort of environments to find out exactly where everyone is at in relation to their online positioning. So what I do is I restrict these to a maximum of 15 delegates per session. And that way we get an opportunity to look at where you're at and what I can do to help you move forward. So because there's only 15 spots available, it really is important that you go in there and secure your spot as quickly as you possibly can, because these sessions will get sold out. So once again, the early birds, it's only $97. Don't delay any further. Go in unrealsocialmedia.com.au, and I'll look forward to catching up with you at the event. So thanks for tuning in on today's webinar, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.